Hey everybody, Jay Super Awesome here. I'd like to welcome you all to week number 40 of the HORRORman's SlashBack Saturday Challenge. This week's slasher movie theme is 90s slashers, and I will be giving my review for Freak, released in 1999. Okay, so getting into the plot for this one, an intense and frightening film in the tradition of Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Psycho. Freak will show you the ultimate face of horror, and it has never been uglier. 25 years ago, the horror began, deformed and hideous. Now it's about to start all over again, this time even more frightening and bloodthirsty and uglier. A homicidal monstrosity has just broken out of a maximum security mental asylum for the criminally insane, and nothing can prepare the surrounding countryside for the bone-crushing brutality of his rampage. Into this walking nightmare comes sisters Stacy and Jody, innocently passing through town, and Jason, the asylum van driver responsible for unleashing the freak. Amidst all the killings, they could not possibly imagine the unspeakable terror and madness in store for them as they now become the hunted. Fighting for their lives, they end up at the freak's abandoned childhood home for the final confrontation, and he has enough gruesome memories to fuel his insane bloodlust. Okay, so getting into my thoughts for this one. With this week's Slashback Challenge theme being 90s slashers, I chose to review Freak because it had been a long time since I had seen it, and I did remember it being pretty decent. This movie's pretty low budget, and even though it was released in 1999, it definitely has that 80s shot on video look and feel to it. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because I actually really like the grimy look to the film. It does have its fair share of issues, but for the most part, I feel like they did a pretty good job with what they had to work with. The movie opens up with a young boy walking home. It appears to be a cold winter's day because there is snow all over the ground. As soon as he makes it home and walks through the door, he is greeted by his mother, who smacks him across the face and begins to yell at him. She tells him that he is never to leave the house to get up to his room, where she ends up chaining him to the floor, and I believe his room is the attic. This woman is a seamstress, so she sews him a mask and puts it over his head to hide his face. She goes back down to her bedroom, she climbs up on her bed, and proceeds to give birth. And I don't mean to be rude or anything like that, but as intense as things have already been, I couldn't help but wonder, who in the world could be so desperate to want to jump on that grenade? This woman has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. I had already mentioned how she is treating her son, but she is living in a rundown house that probably has no power, and maybe even no running water. She takes this newborn baby, wraps it up in a cloth, takes it outside, where I had already mentioned that it's a cold winter's day, but by now it's nighttime, so very cold. There is a burn barrel setting outside that is set ablaze. She walks up to it nonchalantly, tosses this newborn baby into the blazing fire, and walks away as if it was nothing. Luckily, her young son has already escaped his attic prison and rescues the newborn baby. Now, I'm not going to go into a scene-by-scene plot breakdown of this movie. However, I did want to talk about this opening sequence because I felt like it was the most cruel and intense sequence of the movie. The final sequence of the movie was pretty good as well, and everything in between kind of felt like not a lot was going on, and it sort of made it feel like a slow burn, which is not a good thing for a slasher movie. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the cast of characters we have in Freak. So we have a pair of sisters who are the main characters of the story. We have Stacy and Jody, and I believe Stacy is the older sister and Jody is the younger sister. They have decided to pack up and move away, so they have basically hit the road and are on a road trip. And another really important character that I can't forget to mention is Slider, their pet ferret. There's one scene within the movie where Slider goes missing, Jody is looking for him, and is kidnapped by the freak. Stacy begins to pursue them, and poor Slider is left all alone on the side of the road. It was really sad, and he's probably still lost out there somewhere. Rounding out the cast of characters is Jason, the van driver who is responsible for transporting his prisoner, who was the freak, of course, and the freak easily escaped, so Jason was really terrible at his job. Of course, we have some side throwaway characters within this movie. Overall, I thought the acting was okay. It definitely wasn't great, but I wouldn't say that it was terrible either. You definitely have to know what you're getting into with movies like this. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the most important part of a slasher movie, that is the killer and the kills. So I really liked the killer in this movie, both the young version and the adult version. I thought as a kid he had a really cool look. I really loved the mask he had over his head. And I really thought his actions were pretty justifiable as a kid. But regardless of what I think, they still locked him up in a mental asylum. And I think that's bullcrap, but it doesn't really matter what I think. When he grows up, he has bandages around his face. He has always wanted to have his face covered, I guess for his own comfort. And I guess so other people doesn't see him. But rounding out the look, he basically is wearing a Michael Myers looking style of a jumpsuit. Overall, a really cool look for the killer. It was kind of odd how his personality changed as an adult. His actions, I felt, were pretty justifiable as a kid, as I had said. But when he becomes an adult, he becomes more of the villain character. So I thought that was pretty interesting. They went in that direction with it. But overall, I thought this was a really cool killer. As far as the kills go within this movie, that's what hurts this movie the most. I'm only remembering 3 kills the entire movie. I remember 1 really good kill and 2 off-screen kills. We do get a scene towards the end of the movie to where the killer, the freak, has the 2 off-screen victims inside the house. He is chopping and dismembering their bodies. And we don't even get to see that. We get to see him walk outside with a sack and starting to put body parts into the burn barrel. That's all we get to see. So I can forgive a lot of things and overlook a lot of things, but the lack of any kind of creativity with the kills is really unforgivable in my opinion. I did want to mention that if anybody is interested in watching this movie, if you will type in Freak 1999 VHS, you can watch it for free right here on YouTube. But if you are interested in picking up the DVD, it does come with a bonus short film called Head Cheese. Now, I have not seen that one yet, so I can't really comment on that. It is something that you get extra with the DVD, so I just wanted to include that in this review to let you know that it's there if you're interested in the DVD. Myself, I thought this movie was okay. If it would have done something better with some creativity with the kills, I would be giving it a higher score. But as it is, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I believe that's fair enough. Please like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know if you have seen Freak, or just let me know what you think about my review. And I would like to thank you all for watching.